Fnatic reigning champions will defend their title in Madrid.
I've clapped Nuke Dog so many times, it's more like applause.
Schalke are in the final.
Winning an A in the EU will basically cement me as one of the greatest players in the West.
I can finally show people the monster I really am.
This finals is about honor and pride more than anything.
Oh, upset finds the kill.
Bienvenidos a las finales de la LCS Europea. Aquí en Madrid estamos en Vista Alegre, en un pabellón absolutamente espectacular y tenemos preparado algo increíble para vosotros. Hemos estado trabajando mucho para traer unas auténticas finalazas aquí, como digo, a Madrid. Pero antes de que vosotros conozcáis a los equipos, que el mundo os conozca a vosotros. Bienvenidos a las finales de la LCS Europea. Hola Madrid, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estáis? Ya tenemos al primer finalista preparado y es el equipo alemán. Primera final para el Schalke 04. Adelante. Y enfrente el campeón de Europa, Fnatic. Pero nos falta lo más importante y es el trofeo de campeón que lo va a entregar uno de los actuales campeones y Ombak. Y ya tenemos a los 10 jugadores preparados y el primero es por parte de Fnatic, el top laner. Enfrente por parte del Schalke 04, Chachi. En la jungla por parte de Fnatic, Roxa. Y enfrente el alemán, Amazing. En la calle central, el MVP de la LCS Europea, Cops. Y enfrente, segunda final para él, Nuke. Como tirador de Fnatic, Y enfrente, Upset. Como support de Fnatic, Ailishang. Y enfrente, primera final para el Bandor. Como sexto jugador, entrenador de Fnatic, Dylan Falco. Y entrenador del Schalke 04, pero qué jefe. Todo preparado, Madrid, para que comience la gran final.
Thank you, Ibai, and hello, everyone. I'm Daniel Dracos, and it is my great pleasure to introduce Martin Defficiolunga and Andrew Vedius Day. Gentlemen, Madrid is alive right now. You can feel it in the arena. It's hard to find the words to describe exactly how hyped this crowd is.
It's actually unbelievable how much passion there is in this room. Everyone is so excited, and we're going to have some fantastic League of Legends today.
And we feel it's really loud up here. Imagine standing down there as a player. We have some young guys like Upset who's never even made a final. First time, and the entire stadium just cheering for him. Reckless, he's tried it before, and he's standing next to him. He's loving it.
He's standing there, he's proud, he's trying to figure out which pose to do. Upset, just in awe of the moment, and you have to respect it. Schalke's run this far, just incredible, turning it around in Fnatic. Almost an expected finalist at this point, but that does not discredit the achievements that they have had thus far. Definitely a top-tier team.
Fnatic on track to getting themselves their 7th EU LCS title, whereas Schalke, they're looking to gain redemption after what has been a tumultuous history. They make their first final, and they are so close to finally securing their first EU LCS title.
Everything for this team and for this organization, continuing to invest when things got hard, showing that they could turn it around, that the long-term plans paid off for them as they took down Splice, as they took down Vitality to make it this far, and now a spot at Worlds on the line. Maybe if Vitality had lost yesterday, they could play with a little bit less pressure. But now it's first seed, baby, or it's that gauntlet, the stakes.
The title as well for Schalke here. A lot of big names in this lineup, which is why when we saw this roster being built, we said these guys could be one of the top teams in Europe, but it took some time before they got there. They've shown here in playoffs that they can actually adapt to basically everything you're throwing at them. Can Fnatic do something different? Or can Fnatic maybe find other ways to shut them down?
I feel like Fnatic are the kings of different official. We look at Blippo in the first half of the split, Reckless coming in and out of the team, always finding new ways. But we're entering our first pick and ban, and a lot of questions are going to be answered right here. What adaptation have these teams put together since their appearances in the semifinals?
And for me, we have to look at the junglers, because for Schalke to find that early game success, for them to be able to challenge what Fnatic have shown in terms of their early game skirmishing, it's going to revolve around Amazing and what champions he has available to him. In particular, the Skarner and Trundle were big picks for him in the semifinal.
And you bring up Comfort picks, and already we're seeing Comfort banned on both sides. Tristana taken away from Reckless. The Poppy signature pick of Vizichachi, the Alistar, one of Vander's best picks as well. Fnatic is not letting Schalke go easy into this first draft.
And that's a bit of a special ban here. Vizichachi has shown us some very good Rumble games, despite mainly being a tank player. but I think Fnatic are respecting what kind of draft Schalke can pull out for more early game power, because that's kind of where we look at Schalke saying they are a slow team. They might fall behind against Fnatic, and with the Rumble ban, I think Fnatic say, yeah, you know what? If you are trying to match us in the early game, we're gonna make it hard for you.
There's only a couple seconds left. With the Urgot ban, this means that Akali is left up and available for Caps.
And Skarner as well.
But we know this guy's not afraid to just lock it in. He
But
is
now,
the playmaker of Fnatic.
You have to go Skarner then on the side of Schalke and take that trade when you're giving away Akali, the best mid laner right now, to the MVP of the EU LCS. No surprise with Skarner. Braum as well is the other comfort pick for Vander now that Alistar is banned.
And of course, Skarner, the pick we didn't expect to see from Amazing until he unleashed it in the semifinals, but Fnatic are confident, immediately locking in their next 2 picks. Shen most likely headed to the bot lane alongside with that Kai'Sa.
And this Kai'Sa is so good here, because Fnatic needs to make sure Upset does not get it. That is his late game win condition against him. It's not a Sivir, it is a Kai'Sa instead. I think Reckless can have a lot more impact in this game.
But Schalke drafting towards a pretty strong 2v2 down in the bottom lane. Often we have seen Shen come in as an answer to things like the Braum to make that laning phase a little bit easier. But the fact that you have an early playmaker in the form of Skarner and good setup with the Varus means that Schalke do have a strong lane that they can look to play around.
Very, very true. Meanwhile, if you want to try and shut down the Akali, you got to deal with the Shen ult as well, which is going to make it extremely difficult for Schalke. But they knew that Akali would get first pick. They were ready to take the trade.
And this is when we go back into the Nuke Duck champion Ocean. This man has played so many unique champions throughout the split. You have to think that he has something prepared for Caps' Akali.
Yeah, we saw Splice do the same, and they picked a Veigar for Niski in the mid lane. It didn't really work for them. It didn't actually shut down the Akali enough. Let's see if Nuke Duck has found something different. Now the LeBlanc ban here, I think that's smart on the side of Fnatic. Will be one of the most contested mid laners in this series. What else? Another mid lane ban coming in? Yeah, it's the Zillion.
Taken away, not a pick we've seen too much here, but NA obviously loving it. Shoes off there on the stage. Upset getting comfortable, looking to feel confident there. Vizicachi going to get that Cho'Gath. So far, a very standard Schalke draft. Varus really the only pick that feels a little different.
But look at the amount of pick potential they have. You know, Braum Varus as a dual lane already being a ton of utility. Skarner ulti into a Cho'Gath ulti, you're not surviving that. One single member is gonna get singled out in every fight. And right now, that's probably the Akali.
And they're saving that counter pick for Nuke Duck. They want to give him the best matchup possible. Fnatic now locking themselves in the Trundle. They just need a little bit of top lane presence. They could go for the Maokai. They're lacking a little bit of engage right now inside of Fnatic.
Ornn is always a great choice against things like Varus, because you can use it to really disrupt him from just standing there and auto-attacking. It is also the pick that Whippo has played a lot. Jumbo last week said that's the champ for him. Gangplank instead. Carry top laner coming in from Fnatic.
Mixing it up, a big sign of confidence coming in from Whippo to take the Gangplank up into Vizicachi in the top lane. Interesting to see if he can survive on this pick. It has been a weakness in the past.
I mean, the last time we saw Cho'Gath versus Gangplank, we saw a lot of solo kills going in favor of the Cho'Gath. That was off the back of our fight. We'll see if Chachi can have the same performance. And now we get the Lissandra from Nuke Duck. The lockdown onto the Akali. The potential perma-gank in the middle lane.
Oh, it was all a trap. They wanted to give the Akali to Caps. They have drafted now a composition again that can just nuke down a target. We already mentioned before the Skarner and Cho'Gath. Now you're gonna add a Lissandra ulti on top of that. You're gonna need an early QSS if you're Caps, because otherwise you're dying 10 times.
You're paying that tax. You're gonna have to put that 1,300 gold down. The amount of AoE CC present on this Schalke lineup is incredible. A lot of magic damage as well, and we have to see how this is going to unfold, because I see the potential for absolute individual outplays on the side of Fnatic. They've got that Gangplank, they've got the Akali in the mid lane, they've got Kai'Sa in the hands of Reckless, but Schalke sticking to a tried and true playing together style team comp.
And this is what we wanted to see in a Game 1 of the European LCS final. Fnatic drafting some strong comfort in the Kai'Sa, a scaling, playmaking AD carry for Reckless, and Akali, the assassin mid laner for our MVP Caps, going up against the strong preparation from Schalke. We see the Lissandra, we see the Varus. Amazing is on a comfort pick. This is going to be a fantastic game.
And this is also going to be a game where Schalke can show us if they can play a bit more aggressive, a bit faster against Fnatic, because the scaling, that's really, if you look at all the Fnatic champions, the Gangplank, the Kai'Sa, like it's all great in the late game. Schalke is a lot more about early engage, forcing plays, especially before QSS comes in. Can Schalke play active in the early game?
We're going to have to find out. We heard from Youngbuck earlier. We want to play it slow. We want to slow it down. Taking a step away from the aggression we've kind of paired with Fnatic in the past. Well, they are going to need to survive this early game, but it is going to be no easy task. All the engage options coming in from the Schalke lineup. Level 6, we are just about guaranteed a bloodbath. And I'm just ready to see it, gentlemen.
I'm so excited to watch this match unfold. We're jumping into game 1 of the EU LCS finals. Caps versus Nuke, Reckless versus Upset. The crowd is so excited. And I immediately have to jump into this mid-lane matchup. Just soaking in the crowd.
Yeah, I was going to say, you kind of have to be a little less immediate because you're going to need Madrid. Give them a chance to get a word in.
Well, let's look at this. No cleanse on Caps. He's still sticking with the Ignite. He wants that kill pressure later on into the game. This means that the moment Nuke hits level 6, Schalke have to be looking at this mid lane unless their focus is more geared towards the bottom, where Nuke can just push out this mid lane, roam towards the bot, and set up pretty potent tower dives.
He might try. There's a cleanse on Reckless. There's a Shen protecting. To me, it's scream and kill Caps as many times as possible. The Gangplank is also able to get out of some of that CC, so it's actually a smart pick against things like Skarner as well. So Fnatic feel like they have a lot of tools once they go a bit later in the game. But as you highlighted, Vedius, the level 6 mark, like Lissandra, Skarner, Cho'Gath, that's some of the strongest ultis in the game when it comes to killing that one guy.
It's good you bring up the Skarner, a key piece in shutting down the mid lane, and amazing a player who's continued to show us his evolution. This is a guy who struggled a little bit in the quarterfinals, but has been getting better and better as he's been playing in these playoffs.
Yeah, just look at the difference in his performance from quarters to semis. Deficio, we were talking a little bit earlier about how they showed against Vitality that they could be proactive in the early game, and just from his jungle proximity, you could see how much more involved he was, especially in the kills plus assist of 15 as well.
Yeah, and Amazing did a great job of reacting to the aggressive moves from Kiki, saying, I can fight you here. I know I have a numbers advantage. I actually have maybe up already an early level because of better pathing in the early game. Luckily for Amazing, he might not have to show too many things in terms of fighting the enemy jungler 1v1, because Broxah is not known to be a guy who shuts down the enemy jungler. He's more the guy who plays around his lanes, just like Amazing. So we have a similar jungle style in this one. With the Skarner pick, however, Amazing's level 6 is a lot more impactful when it comes to going for that one lane.
Also want to take this opportunity to look at the Fnatic comp, because when we look at Schalke, it's pretty standard. You know, the pick potential, they have decent engage with the Lissandra, they have Braum set up with follow-up as well. But for Fnatic, they kind of have a little bit of everything. There's no hard engage aside from maybe Trundle walking in with a Shen up. Maybe you can use the Akali too. They do have decent late game, but they also have a solid mid game. It feels to me that this comp is just a little all over the shop this year.
A lot of it is based on winning the side lanes once we get out of laning phase. Akali goes to one side, GP sitting in the other one, and when you then try and catch Caps in the side lane, he gets a Shen ult and a GP ult coming down, and it gets really difficult unless you're sending multiple members and can just burst him fast enough, and I think that's what Schalke are hoping for here. We will most likely see Nuke and Vizicachi try and go together to kill Caps, but that's later. Brox is around mid lane for the first gank.
Now the Claw is going to come out, but can he use the pillar to interrupt? Not quite. Good timing from Nuke, keeps him alive for now. And gentlemen, Nuke just continuing to show us new champions. You wanted to know how deep the ocean goes, Vedius. It just continues to grow. We didn't have room 3 champions ago, boys, but it just keeps on growing.
19 unique champions. I'm expecting even more unique champions as the series progresses. And one of the big questions we had was, who had the deeper champion pool, Nuke or Caps? Well, so far, what we know is Nuke seems to have an answer for everything in the meta.
Yeah, I like to look at it this way and saying, Nuke can play any traditional mid laner, Caps can just play anything. It doesn't have to be a mid laner, he'll just put it there and do something with it. Is that Amazing sneaking in behind Whippo on the top side? Ooh, Nuke is roaming as well. This might be the first kill.
Wave crashing in. Whippo trying to stay alive as long as he can. He's going to have to interrupt a little bit of CC, but the knockup is there. The heal comes through. He wants to get a kill back, but a nice flash out from Vizicachi means it's just the first blood for Schalke.
Very clean dive from Schalke as they get an early kill down onto Whippo. This used to be an old strat when Gangplank was common in the meta because he struggled against early tower dive. When stopwatch was a thing, we saw it become a lot harder, but Bwipo has no stopwatch, he's only level 4, the chain CC was perfect, Schalke draw first blood.
And again, this is why Amazing can be so key in this matchup here, because he can focus on ganking lanes. He's not scared of Broxah at all. So he sets up nice deep vision on top side, knows, okay, no one is actually around to stop me from going for this tower dive. And while the Gangplank knows he's putting down a ward himself, it does not matter because he's stuck here all alone. Nukeduck didn't even get to join in time. Great combo from Schalke and great start.
Beautiful use of the chain CC, and gentlemen, you talked to me about this before we started. You said this is a potential avenue for Schalke to exploit. Bwipo, an incredibly aggressive laner, doesn't always respect the potential for his opponents to take him down.
It's very true, and he also likes to pick more aggressive champions that can be shut down. That's what we just see here. Vizicachi is very happy playing tanks. One of the few top laners always celebrating when he gets a tank pick. Let's see what happens bottom side. Amazing, he's active again.
Predator coming through. Hill is saying, where's the taunt going to go? It's going to be crucial. Flash out from Reckless. The chain CC is going to come through. He just needs to proc it, but it's blocked. Not going to get stunned. Still enough to get the kill. Schalke 2-0 early on.
Amazing is being so active in this early game. We talked about how they were able to match Vitality when Amazing gets these comfort picks, Trundle or Skarner. They bait Fnatic into locking in the Akali, and now it is Schalke who are 1,000 gold up in the first game of the final.
And it was Youngbuck before the game saying, Schalke plays slow. We need to just make sure that we can actually control the early game. We don't have to force too many things, and then clearly try and scale for late game with this draft. But Schalke, they're not here to play slow. They're playing very fast.
And Fnatic's bot lane was just so pushed up that this became easy for Amazing to just walk in. They had to burn a couple of summoner spells, but they secured a kill onto Reckless. And Schalke now sitting in a very healthy early game lead.
Kills, double summoners as well. Reckless had to try and flash the Q from Vander, but couldn't do it.
And gentlemen, we are now at that point that we talked about when we saw this Lissandra locked in. It is the level 6, but Broxah not concerned about the Lissandra. He's got his eyes on the Cho'Gath, going to use the ultimate there, trying to buy a bit of time. Subjugate, is it going to be enough? Is it touching now, running for his life? He's so low. Looks like he's going to get cut down. Bwipo, will the kill get donated? One more parlay ought to do it. Bang, one shot, one kill.
This is one thing I love about Broxah. He will always take the easy kills for himself. Oh, no flash top lane? That's where he's heading. It doesn't have to be fancy, but it's effective.
And now 1K gold lead held onto for Schalke.
Oh, he's going to TP back in.
Amazing, hungry for a little bit more, wants to hunt down Bwipo. What's he going to be able to do? Skarner ultimate is available. He's taking his time, he's running under the tower. Maybe he wants to deny. Is there going to be enough tower shots to kill him? This is going to be an awkward moment if he manages to get away with it.
Oh!
Is he going to get taken down? A beautiful execute from Bwipo. Not the happiest circumstance, but happy not to give up the gold.
He gets the farm, he gets away without giving any kill or gold over, and Bwipo, that was the best case scenario for him and Fnatic.
It is not often we celebrate someone dying in the game, but he did deny a kill there. Sadly for him, he's still losing out on a lot of minions. He has no teleport to get back into lane, so he is behind. Same thing for mid lane, where you have Nukeduck pushing, and we're still waiting for that first Lissandra ulti.
So we can see here that you talked about the lack of flash to Fischio. It means that with the Trundle pillar, there are very few options for Vizicachi to escape. The ulti comes down from Broxah as well, seeing that he did hit that level 6. But then Broxah goes back to base. He doesn't help Bwipo push out the lane. Amazing then comes up, and they don't have any summoner spells. No flashes are left available. And then Bwipo stays just out of range so that he's still within tower range, but Chachi can't get it.
I never thought I'd say outplayed, but I outplayed. There you go. Denies his own life to the tower. Well done in the end, and now Schalke, eyes set on a little bit of dragon control, will manage to secure the Scuttle Crab and do have a decent amount of bot side vision so far.
Once again, it's Amazing looking for something. Flash not available, but that ulti is ready. No flash on Reckless side. Meanwhile, in mid, Caps has actually managed to start pushing now. We know he can use his Shroud to try and stay invisible for as long as possible and wait for backup. But if Nukeduck gets onto him first, he won't be able to do it in time.
Yeah, if our observers could very kindly swap over to the gold, I believe that Nukeduck is sitting on a healthy amount right now and hasn't had an opportunity to go back to base. 1,800 in its pockets, and because Caps did recently have a base, he has a little bit more power just because he has those extra items in his inventory. So Nukeduck showing that respect. He doesn't want a base just yet. Maybe he wants to just fully complete the Luden's Echoes, what you imagine he would go for as a first buff.
Could also be waiting for the TP to make sure he can get back to lane uncontested. May also save it to roam and make plays elsewhere on the map. Level 6, still the crucial point we talked about. We've yet to see a Frozen Tomb assume come out from Nukeduck, but now he's on the move. They might be looking for the bottom side.
Yeah, they knew the blue buff was just taken right there, so there's no threat of Broxah being on bottom side. Amazing's on his way, will force Fnatic's dual lane back, but this gives some free time for Upset to just deal damage to the turret here. Schalke, not known for overcommitting in these early game plays, will just take the safe one.
And I love that Schalke drafted a composition that relied on them being active in the early game, and they're executing upon it beautifully. They're sitting on a 1,000 gold lead right now, 20 CS lead for Upset, 10 CS lead for Nukeduck, and things just look good if Schalke can maintain this pressure.
It is important, however, that they do not slow down, because you're 100% correct, Thaddeus. They need to maintain the pressure they have now. Do not let Akali just freely scale in the mid lane. She's one of the scariest late game assassins to deal with, and it is Caps playing it. They're looking bot lane again. Reckless flashes up in just a couple of seconds. Here we go.
Here we go. Predator pop for Amazing. Where's the ultimate going to go? Who's smarter going to focus? They're trying to buy a bit of time. Reckless trying to find his escape right out. He's using Hylissang as the sacrificial lamb. Can Hylissang make it out as well? It doesn't look like it. Suppression there, and another kill for Upset.
Easy kill picked up for Schalke. They just did the Drake. Now Chachi looking for a 1v1.
They get the knockup, but we're going to flash out to safety. Won't connect in the end, so a flash advantage there for Visit Chachi, but forced back under his tower. And Bwipo's still playing with a lot of confidence. Chachi has to be careful here.
Broxah is on the way. Will get spotted right here by the ward. Caps also moving towards topside. Should be communicated by Schalke. Chachi walks away.
Now backing off. Is it going to be enough? Yes, Caps will not continue to pursue. We'll just settle for that Raptor camp in the meantime. But losing a bit of pressure on top side does mean that Schalke have free access to bottom. The Gangplank ulti being used. The TP now coming down. Shen on the way in as well. Amazing wants to do something. Upset flashing backwards. Where is he going? He wants the TP to come in from the rest of the team. Is it going to be enough? It doesn't look like it. What was Upset doing? Wants to escape, but Nukeduck's here now too. Can Schalke turn it? Amazing is running for his life. Fnatic just going to walk away with a single kill.
Looked like he tried to dodge what Hylissang was going to do against him and then get near a ward where Nukeduck could TP too. Sadly for him, nothing really happened and he just ended up flashing for nothing.
Schalke, they end up falling behind as Fnatic now look to be a little proactive. Good use of the TP from Bwipo combined with the Shen of Hylissang allows them to get this collapse on from Schalke. They had no vision in the bot lane, which meant that there was no easy ward for Nukeduck to TP to and respond, and now Chachi could be in some trouble.
And now going in, Caps has the passive ready, but won't pursue any further. That is the flash burn from Visit Chachi.
And now we're seeing one of the concerns regarding what Schalke can do early game with the draft, but it can be proactive, is they will give openings. And Fnatic are so good at punishing whenever you give them anything. This is just a play with TP advantage from top side. And yeah, he's waiting. He thinks maybe the taunt comes out instantly and he can try and dodge it, or he's simply just misclicking. Like, it is one of the two things.
So this moment where you think, hey, if I outplay this, I look like a genius, but if you predict too soon, doesn't work out, and you look a little bit foolish there in the exchange. But at the end of the day, it's just one kill. Still a small gold advantage for Schalke. Yes, giving up a little bit of the snowballing that they did earlier. And now the biggest concern is the Rift Herald that was taken down by Broxah.
Exactly that. You can see that Broxah is moving up towards the top side.
We'll have the 2v2. Visit Chachi at a level disadvantage here. Predator's coming out. Broxah trying to buy a little time. Wants to disrupt as much as possible. Going thrown into the Gangplank. They want to get a little bit more damage down. Is he going to be able to nom on him? Doesn't quite have it. Now walking away. Visit Chachi is still alive. Suppressed and pulled back. Amazing the bodyguard. He says not today.
Amazing is playing beautifully right now. Not only does he help Visit Chachi get the kill, but we've got more action.
Now the bot side, the chain CC comes in once again. Hylissang dashing out, trying to make it to safety. Upset has to be careful here. The Blade of the Room King is there. He has a little bit more sustain. They want to buy it. The stun is going to come through. Upset's going to get it. Reckless looking for his life. One more stun. The flash forward. Reckless tries to shield up, but now he put himself in range of Upset. Upset backs off. A brief moment of pause.
Oh, the two mid laners were looking to go down bottom lane, but they both stop. Amazing is around Caps, however. Nukeduck not in range to ult him. Cannot set up another kill, but Schalke right back at it.
Upset is trying to solidify his name in the European LCS. 2 versus 2, they find themselves a kill, and Schalke looking to snowball their early lead.
So both junglers thinking, hey, we can go top here, no flash, we can kill someone. No feast from Visit Chachi either, but they still managed to win the early trade. Then we go straight down to the bottom lane. Yes, you can't really kill the Shen early because he can block all these different autos. But that doesn't matter, because there's no threat from Reckless. You can just keep chasing.
Exactly that. Kai'Sa in the early game doesn't have the damage to be able to trade back. Braum has the excellent setup, and when you combine that with the damage from Upset, everything comes together.
And that's actually the brilliant thing here for Schalke in terms of a pick and ban advantage. Fnatic took this Kai'Sa early to deny it from Schalke specifically. Schalke say, fine, we don't need the Kai'Sa. They grabbed a much stronger laner in the Varus, and then they win this bot lane.
And so many fans reached out and said, this is going to be a 3-0 Fnatic. And we tried to explain, you got to respect the prep from Schalke. These guys, throughout the playoffs, have shown that they are willing to come in ready with a strategy. And already in game one, they're showing the differences, the growth that they've made, and they're challenging the heavy favorites of Fnatic.
And not just the prep Vedius, but the 80 carry as well. Upset going toe-to-toe with Reckless, putting this early game advantage via champ select to good use. You can see these guys' numbers so close, but that damage per minute heavily in the favor of Upset. We've seen what a monster this guy can be if he gets a comfortable pick.
Right now, the Varus is looking good for him. Also one of the champions in the late game where you can deal a ton of damage. It's just hard to position properly. Luckily for him, with Vander next to him, he's gonna feel pretty comfortable. And Caps is not getting ahead. That's another key thing. He's just sitting there, he's just farming. Obviously, Nukedog has not been involved either, but he's not needed to because they're winning bot and top.
Taunt does come in, Brox is on the way, but the Predator has come out. Vander trying to make it out to safety. Gangplank ultimate use. Hylissang takes a big chunk of life there. Not the cooldown that Fnatic wanted to give up for nothing. Vizicachi still with a TP available if they want to try to force something.
And look at all the deep vision that Schalke have towards the bot side of the map. They're looking to continue to play where they are stronger right now, but they may look for a dive onto Caps. Flash is available onto Nukeduck. Oh, Caps goes in!
Ward saving his life. Nukeduck gonna try to make it out to safety. He has the ultimate available if he wants to use it, but he needs to use it on himself. He goes in! Nukeduck doesn't do it! He doesn't have the reaction speed to press it.
And that's why this guy is the MVP of summer. Caps solo kills Nukeduck. Fnatic finally find an advantage.
Absolutely beautiful play, but now the fallout may be even worse for Schalke. Amazing trying to move into the backside. Caps could be in trouble. Most of the cooldowns have been burned, but it's brought to all on his lonesome. Flash over the wall is going to be used in the end. They take down Hylissang. Schalke fire back.
We get the Rift help mid lane as well, getting some damage on the turret, and Whippo is still sitting top lane. He actually will get the mid lane turret down. Fnatic took a lot of punches to the face, both top lane and bot lane, but in mid, we just said it, they were just farming, and Caps, he was waiting. Nukeduck had the tools to outplay this one.
Yes, he did.
But they were so quick and so much burst under the turret.
He had his ulti up. I'm surprised that he chose not to use it. Caps getting himself a solo kill. This is one of the big win conditions for Fnatic. They want this Akali to be strong in a side lane later on into the game. Let's look back at how this one is set up. Caps just goes in, gets a huge amount of burst, and Nukeduck, he just chooses not to use the ult.
But he's dancing around the shadows right there. And yeah, once he jumps Nukeduck and kills him instantly, that's it.
And gentlemen, that replay brought to you by Acer Predator, and a perfect fit after Caps goes so fearlessly to dive into Lissandra with ult up. But the rest of this play doesn't work out quite as expected.
Yeah, now you can't commit to a fight when all the Akali cooldowns are unavailable. You also don't have Reckless there, so it's pretty much just support and jungler versus 4 members of Schalke. Fnatic, they overstep and they give more free kills over to the Schalke side.
Solo kills 14. That is the regular season because those are his summer split MVP stats. So understand any numbers he's stacking up here in the playoffs, just going to continue to grow that even further. And just an absolute monster. Schalke, you can give away kills somewhere, but you do not want to give them to Caps.
That is definitely the big win condition for Fnatic. Can the Akali disrupt the Schalke composition? Because you will jump into this fight, try and get to the 80 carry, deal a bunch of damage, and then you will go invisible. You cannot get targeted, and you will just wait for your cooldowns, and then you try and kill.
18 minutes in, gentlemen, a slow siege in the mid lane. 2 dragons secured for Schalke and about a 2K gold lead as well. They are getting the early game that they want and set themselves up for success here early on, but Fnatic and Caps are starting to scale up, starting to get a few more items under their belt as the Gunblade, the Trinity Force, and the Storm Razor are all completed.
Exactly, and especially the 2-item spike on basically every carry on the side of Fnatic is fantastic. Storm Razor GP is insane once you actually get to that point later in the game. You know, Rage Blade is what we're looking at for Reckless as well. Like, there's a lot of key items that can soon get completed. And then fighting, if you're Schalke, gets a lot harder.
And Caps now level 13. He's caught up in CS. He is very strong with the Gunblade completed, as we were talking about Deficio. And Schalke, they've kind of slowed down a little bit. They had a really proactive early game. They pushed bot very aggressively. They just took the mid-tier 1, but now it feels like they're giving a little bit more control of the map towards Fnatic. If we just look at the vision, you can see the top side is littered in favor of Fnatic. They've got a couple of wards sprinkled on the entrances to a lot of Schalke's jungle, and they didn't have any of this control before, and all of it comes off the back of Caps finding that solo kill.
Very, very true. I still want to see with Whippo and his impact in the game. He's been targeted in the early game. He's going for Sterix as his second item with the pickaxe. feeling like he needs to be a bit more defensive against the amount of burst on the side of Schalke. Will delay some of his damage, obviously, compared to the Storm Racer, but when you have an Akali next to you and soon to be 2-item Kai'Sa, I think it's okay. You don't need to be the main damage dealer all of a sudden.
While Bwipo may have struggled a little bit, Kleptomancy keeping him up in gold thus far, and additionally the Gangplank ult has been key in slowing down Schalke on a lot of these aggressive pushes into something like the tier 2 bottom lane tower. And for Schalke now, they're out of the laning phase. Nothing is quite as certain. Way less champions visible on the map at any given moment. They have to be just a little bit more scared of Caps when they don't have the vision set up.
And also because during the laning phase, it's a lot easier to set up these tower dives because you know where people are going to be. They're going to be in their lane. Now, when the turrets are gone, people are spreading around the map, it's a lot harder to 100% know how many members are actually sitting top side, bot side. And Schalke will have a harder time, as you highlighted right there, actually finding Caps. QSS also completed on his side. That's a key item we mentioned earlier that was necessary to stop Amazing's ulti.
Fnatic doing what they can to just maintain some vision around the Baron. I feel like it's a little early for either team to really be forcing it, but if anyone drops that vision control, the ability to rush it down is very scary. And of course, the Cho'Gath beast on the side of Schalke gives you that extra insurance when setting up for their objective.
Yeah, and Schalke should just use it to bait the fight. Hover around it, out of vision, force Fnatic to step in and check what's going on, like here where they almost get Broxah, and then you secure your pick. But they need pushing this top lane as well. And Nuketug, he's scared because he knows this level 14 Akali is scary.
Absolutely true to Fishy on, of course, Schalke right now, taking from the Fnatic playbook, hiding, waiting, looking for those picks, setting up a death brush, and hoping they can catch someone out. But Fnatic aren't falling for it yet. Schalke doing what they can to keep mid-prio.
Look at the state of the map right now. Cho'Gath, he's just pushed up bot, starting to group up with his team. Lissandra also pushed up towards the top lane to Fisho. That force fight that you were just talking about, at the very least, they're hoping to get a TP out from Bwipo or maybe his ultimate.
Yeah, here we go. Starting it already. Look at Amazing hovering around Caps. QSS is available. Remember it, he's not going to be an easy target.
This might not be necessary. Amazing now pushing forward. The flash forward, the stun. They're just going to try to take down Hillsang. They're looking for a single pick, but Caps is immediately to the back line.
He's dead!
Only has been laid down. That's 2 taken out. Schalke, clear road to the Baron. May just be enough to give them a greater advantage.
This whole composition was built around killing Caps, and that is exactly what Schalke just did. They have their eyes on the Baron. 22 minutes into the game, Schalke are looking good.
Broxah is hovering around. Flash is ready. Do not allow him to get into the pit. He doesn't have vision of the HP just yet. He's trying to get it.
Okay.
He's around.
Get it. Not going to get it. Cho'Gath locks it down, but he flashes in. He gets taken out anyway. And now it's Bwipo who has to run for the hills. Nuketug, though, giving Reckless the respect he deserves. Not going to push any further, but gentlemen, Baron for Schalke here in game 1.
And Nuketug still even has his ultimate available. When we get the replay up, keep your eyes on Vizicachi and Amazing. Amazing is going to put a lot of pressure down onto Hillsang. He's the one that kind of gets focused down, but then Caps, he has a prime target onto Upset. He jumps in. The silence immediately comes out from Vizicachi. There's nothing that Caps can do. It's too late for him to throw down the W, and then they have enough turnaround damage to just say, goodbye, Caps, you're out of the fight.
Yeah, every single champion on the side of Schalke can crowd control Caps. So when he goes in, he will instantly get CC'd down, like we just saw here. And that Baron play was great from Schalke. The bait around it, their control in lanes, Fnatic was split up, and Schalke just knew, no matter who shows up, kill this first guy, and we can win the fight and get the Baron.
And in this case, taking down Caps, taking down the MVP of the summer split. Have to be careful, though, because if you look back at that replay, Upset was on the verge of death. Despite everything being thrown into him, he was still only 20-30% health from a single combo from Caps.
It is going to be scary, but he's really the only one you are afraid of right now. I just want to talk about the confidence and the momentum, though, for Schalke. In a game 1 where everyone is saying they don't have a chance, they're going to lose. It's over already before the game even starts. And they show up, play proactive on the big stage. Caps jumping in.
Here goes Caps. He has the Shen coming in now. If they take him out before the Shen can get there, Hillsang going to look for the chain CC. The Tomb has come out, trying to dash through, but not going to connect the taunt whatsoever. Upset is off to the side. Amazing is off to the side. Schalke may have found the flank. No one's going to get hit by the knockup, though. Caps is now running for his life. Schalke eyes on the tier 2 tower, but Fnatic aren't looking to give it up that easy. Bwipo here to clear the waves, here to stop the push in its tracks.
A lot of ultimates were used on the side of Schalke. I say that only Nuketug's ultimate was used on the side of Schalke. Fnatic, on the other hand, are burnt through a lot. Nuketug, he TP's back in top, applying pressure.
Trying to back off now. Broxah getting stunned up. Nuketug needs to make it on safety, but Reckless in the middle of everybody. He gets pulled back, but there's no follow-up damage. He could be first on the menu to go down. Bwipo taking down 1. Fnatic, is this the turn that they need? A moment of pause here as they back off. Fnatic happy with a single kill.
Schalke showing again that they need to be careful. The moment you start splitting up, you start overextending a little bit, you want to be aggressive, you want to get down an inhib turret, you do give openings for Fnatic. And Fnatic are one of the best teams in Europe at reacting to these small openings, and then instantly they punish you in a strong skirmish.
So you can see, this is where the TP comes in from Nukeduck. He feels like with the pressure Schalke have topside, he can secure this tower. But Akali goes back to base, and then the Gangplank ultimate really limits his options of escape. Then a good ulti in from Reckless initially looks poor, but as you said, Dracos, there's no follow-up from the rest of Schalke. The ultimate from Epset was even used onto Bwipo to prevent him from getting that flank in from the side. So really good executed fight here from Fnatic, and they're able to relieve some of this Baron pressure.
Crucial now is it will deny the last 30 or 40 seconds of this Baron. Schalke get maybe one more push. 5K gold advantage for the underdogs in this series. Fnatic may not have been expecting this aggressive early game coming in from Schalke.
They definitely did not. They thought it was going to be a slow game. A lot of scaling on both sides. That's what Fnatic drafted for. They accepted after they saw the pick and ban phase that they could fall behind. They've actually not tried to play over-aggressive. We have to give them that credit. But the problem is they just have so few tools to use to actually gain an advantage here. It's all in favor of Schalke. They have to push, they have to engage, and they just need to continue pushing this advantage. Flash is almost ready from Amazing. That means he's gonna flash forward, and he's gonna try and grab someone.
5 members bot side. Gargoyle's stone plate immediately used. The Chachi now running for his life, but he's getting slowly and steadily chipped down. The dash forward from Caps is looking potentially for the execute here. Wants to go in. Bwipo trying to start it up. That's going to be Chachi taken out. Schalke now at a man disadvantage, but Upset's ulti comes in anyway. Caps, no ultimate cooldown to get him into the back of the fight, but he wants to get a little bit more. Bwipo off to the side with the flank. One barrel could turn everything. Caps gets the shutdown. Schalke now trying to turn, firing into the middle of everybody. Upset remains untouched. And the double for Nukeduck.
Nukeduck turned that fight around with a huge jump in with the EW combo. Schalke, things were looking dire there. They split up again to Fishu. You talked about the risk of this because of the outplay potential from Fnatic. They tried to go for it. They can't pull it off. And now Schalke is sieging onto the tier 2.
All right, GP ulti to try and kill the wave. Caps needs to be careful. We'll just have to give up this turret here. But yeah, this game, it's tense all of a sudden. Despite the goal lead from Schalke, the fights are very even. Caps are looking for something else.
What's the call going to be here? Vander's going to be all on his lonesome. Has to be careful here. Secured the backs for his teammates, but he could now be in trouble. Minion's going to offer him a safe path out. Caps going to let him take it, but not too happy about it here. Gold lead stays about the same for Schalke, and Fnatic just continue to get scarier and scarier as items get finished.
So Vizicachi is just sitting in the bot lane here. There's not enough pressure on the rest of the map for Schalke to really be able to secure anything else. So they just try to collapse and go for a 4 versus 5. Now remember, Akali has no abilities or executes left available. So a lot of the damage is left unavailable. And keep your eyes on Reckless in this fight. He gets a little too close to Amazing. And at this point you think, oh, he's okay, he gets knocked up, but then the damage comes in from Nukeduck, immediately dives onto the backline, and there's the burst combined with Upset to take out the carries, and Caps can't do anything.
Yeah, small opening in the map, so you all line up, and then there's a Braum ulti, and there's Lissandra coming in. Let's see what happens around mid lane. We're gonna get more fights here.
There's the Varus ulti, one piece of CC down. Caps is trying to play with the food, baiting, hoping to catch a cooldown. Bwipo now too far on the front line. Caps once again leaping in and out. He's used both charges, the ultimate, however, that's gonna be a crucial cooldown. The knockup is there. Vizicachi looking for a little bit of disruption, holding onto the silence, is gonna use it onto Bwipo. Buying a bit of time is Amazing. Got to find his way into the backline. That's one kill. Take it down. Reckless next with the QSS. Just barely buying him safety, but the knockup from Vizicachi will be enough. Upset on a rampage. Schalke cleaning house in game 1.
Schalke, with all 5 members, find themselves 3 quick kills onto Fnatic. The Nexus is in their eyes in game 1. Those death timers are still very long. Schalke could look to end the game right now.
This Fnatic draft simply cannot get to the carries of Schalke. They're just trying to run away, and they hope Caps can then kill someone, but he's not allowed to get close to Upset and Nukeduck, and Schalke slowly but surely will get the first kill, second kill, third kill, and they're going for more.
Caps trying to find his way to the backline. He's desperate to get something, but goodbye to Broxa. Just the victory lap now coming through as they buy time. Caps isn't even the center of attention here. Schalke, in game 1, they say, we don't care about your MVP. We're here to play.
The perfect start for Schalke. They give away the strongest mid lane champion to the best player in Europe. And they say, we have a strategy prepared. Cho'Gath, Skarner, Lissandra, locked down to try and keep him under control. But they didn't even focus him, because they didn't have to. They won top side and they won bot side instead.
It was such a good draft from Schalke. Their preparation was perfect. And in game one, they're able to shut down the individual playmaking potential that Fnatic has demonstrated throughout the summer split.
And a big focus going into this series would be the two AD carries facing each other. Right now, a lot of people look at Upset and say he's better than Reckless. He can do more than Reckless can in this series. And in the first game, he gets the Varus and he just destroys the bot lane.
Absolutely looked fantastic from Upset when the Kai'Sa got picked up with Reckless. Not historically a Reckless champion. We started to wonder, how good is he going to be at it? Upset not even phased, doesn't even need the Ezreal, pulls out the Varus and takes it home in the early game. The 2v2 kills in the lane, I did not think we would see it. I did not think Reckless and Hylissang would fall for it, but Vander and Upset just out-executed.
But we talked about it right at the beginning of the draft. Schalke, if they want to play proactively, it's all about getting amazing on these comfort picks, and we got to think about how influential he was in setting up the early game success. He found a kill up in the top lane. He found a kill down in the bot lane. He controlled so much of the vision control in the river. He was instrumental in getting this early game lead for Schalke.
Fnatic spent a ban on Rumble, a pick that Chachi has shown a few times, but not really been a big deal for Schalke, instead of things like Ascana. I think we're going to get adaptations now. Fnatic will say, calm down, guys. It was game one. Now we make changes. Schalke here to play fast, adapt in the pick and ban phase, get rid of Ascana.
We're going to see how game two works out, but for now, over to the analyst desk.
Thank you very much. Schalke 04 wins the first game, and Fnatic, the reigning champions, are trailing in their final. Well, the first thing I want to talk about with my analyst is that jungler of Schalke 04, amazing, who we talked so much about, who has come so far already, and in this first game, puts his team on his back on the Skarner. Fantastic.
Yeah, it was so good. He was so proactive looking for that early gank up in the top lane, for the tower dive, eventually really hits home in the bottom lane because it was so important to get Upset ahead, and it was amazing to enable his team.
How important is this great start of Amazing for Schalke and for the rest of the series?
It is so important, and I want to highlight the fact that he gets on the Skarner. We saw it in the semi-final. He was really one of the core issues for Vitality in that semi-final on Skarner, and I think a lot of it came down to the fact that they, in the draft phase, gave away a Kali first pick, banned away the Olaf, which is the biggest counter to Skarner, and then you get a free Skarner pick, and then we see what happens.
For sure. I think in terms of the draft, I think when you know that the enemy is going to first pick Akali for sure, you can set up the Skarner, which is good to pull Akali out of the Shroud, and you can also ban the Olaf to make sure there's a good trade. They prepared the Lissandra for the Akali, and I felt like this entire draft was in preparation for this Akali first pick.
And I feel like this is one of the things we talked about as a strength of Schalke. We saw how flexible they were going from the Splice quarterfinal to the Vitality semifinal. It looks that they have even more in their playbook. This is great stuff just from the supporting staff.
Exactly. I think that the entire composition, you have like the Braum thrown in there as well. So many CC tools to try and not only deal with the Akali, but also force plays, because it was pretty clear that eventually picks like the Kai'Sa and the Akali will outscale in side lanes with the Shen to support it. So Schalke knew they had to force early and often in order to close out.
I just think it's so funny that we talk so much about that it's going to be a fight in the mid lane, constantly people roaming into mid lane to support the two stars of the teams. But honestly, it was just fight in top side, fight in bot side, and in the entire early game, Caps were not part of it at all.
I think the most important thing here is that they had Akali, which doesn't get prior early. It spikes at level 6, and then it wants to fight. And then on top of that, you have side lanes that are going to lose. You have the Kai'Sa, Shen into the Braum Varus. You're going to get pushed, you're going to lose the matchup. Top lane, you have a Gangplank that wants to scale for late game. I feel like Fnatic fed too much into this narrative that Schalke plays too
and so
slow.
greedy, honestly. Like,
yes.
The GP went for Kleptomancy and Sorcery, not even any resolve against the Cho'Gath.
Yes, so that dive was so easy.
It was so easy to just dive him and just get top lane ahead. And I think, honestly, when you see that they have the Varus and the bot side control, then you need to be able to counter pick top so you have something to play for in the early game, and they just didn't do that.
I think I agree. The two takeaways for me are a bit overconfidence of Fnatic, or a lot of overconfidence, and being bought too much into the thought of Schalke's gonna play slow, Schalke's gonna go late, but it was Schalke who got the early advantage and Schalke who pushed it through. Let's take a look at the Baron, at the fight that in the end secured them Baron, because this could have gone another way, but Schalke has their eye on the prize.
Exactly. It's still very early on into the game, but they have the lead, and they know that if they can force force and pick off that first member, the entire rest of the fight becomes so easy. And then you have Caps diving into the backline, but the CC threat from Schalke eliminates him immediately and makes the fight just easy for them.
And it shows that they understand their composition. They have Cho'Gath, they have Varus. They wanna utilize the mid game to create picks with the Skarner and the Lissandra. And best way to do that, start Baron and force the enemy team to come there, and then you get the Baron and you can just start taking over the game.
Yeah, for sure. It's just so difficult for Fnatic to get ahead. They have to get ahead. And if they're behind, they have to itemize Quicksilver Sash. And Quicksilver Sash, when you're behind, this is just a cloth, you know.
It's not
just,
fun.
It's no fun
Feels
at
bad,
all.
man.
It's pretty terrible. Of course, Fnatic trailing, so they're gonna have to get their minds back in the game and look at what they want to do for Game 2. I do want to take a look at the final replay and the final fight that sealed the deal for Schalke 04. And I want to give credit to Fnatic, and this is what they do, you know. They always still try. They go for it. But Schalke also played the team fights very well.
It is important to see, too, Caps used both of his ult charges to sort of go for this bait in and out to try and blow a cooldown. He doesn't get one, so then the turn becomes very easy, and he doesn't have that big stun and execute to try to turn around this fight. Not that it necessarily would have helped them, because Schalke as a 5-man unit were just way more powerful.
And because Kai'Sa was so far behind from the laning phase, he just couldn't kill the Cho'Gath. Cho'Gath just runs at you and you can't do anything. It's so hard to play for them, honestly.
Yamato, you said at the beginning, David versus Goliath. It's not going to be that today. There is
This was the slingshot. This was the slingshot I was talking about.
They only have one? Is that what you're saying?
the only slingshot? Is this the only thing Schalke you think have in their pockets after what you've seen in the quarterfinals, in the semifinals, and now in the first game in the finals?
Of course, you cannot underestimate Schalke. I think preparation-wise, they are very smart. I think they have a good grasp with the current meta. I think that's for sure. It's not like they're going to make blunders in draft. I think Fnatic as a team, though, I think they can make adaptations. We saw it in the Misfits series. They came in with an idea. They kind of overforced it. I think Fnatic is going to adapt.
They adapted by taking out Buipo. Soaz has been subbed in for the next game. This is also something we saw when after the first two games versus Misfits, it wasn't all going too good. What are we expecting from this? What changes are we going to see from Fnatic?
Well, the biggest thing is just a steady mind for Fnatic, because he's sitting backstage with the coaching staff, watching over, looking at some mistakes. They can come into the next game with a fresh perspective. I don't think champion pool changes all that much. Maybe we see an Ornn instead of something along the lines of the gangplank, but it's really the mind of Soaz that you want.
We do know he loves his dog champ, so it's probably going to be a tank versus tank.
Is that what they need now? Is that what they need now?
I think it works, but then a lot of it is going to come down to the bottom side of the map. This game, there was more flexibility that you can play to the GP, you can play to the bottom side, but there was not really a clear plan in the early game, and I think that's what they're lacking. And maybe Soaz will bring that.
All right. We will see what happens. The underdogs, Schalke, are looking to pull off a huge upset and take down the reigning EU LCS champions. We'll be right back for Game 2. Don't go anywhere.